Good morning, everybody. So it is beautiful outside today. It is ridiculously beautiful outside today. So get outside and play today. Any chance you get, and enjoy this. We don't get many of these beautiful days in Florida, that's for sure. And they're going to quickly come to an end the closer we get to May. So get out there and have some fun. All right, we are ready for chapter 7 of our book, Mr. Burke is Berserk. Gold Fever. Gold, shouted Ryan, and Michael, and Neil, and gold, I shouted. Just in case you were wondering, we were all shouting gold. Kids from every corner of the playground came running over to see what was going on. Mr. Burke found gold. Mr. Burke found gold. Mr. Burke found gold. Just in case you were wondering, lots of kids were talking about how Mr. Burke found gold. Everybody crowded around him as he held up his chunk of gold. Well, I'll be dogged, Mr. Burke said. My great-great-grandpappy lived over yonder back in 48. He told me there was a heap of gold left in the ground after the big gold rush ended. And I reckon it was right here. Mrs. Jaffe came running out to the playground. What's all the fuss about? She asked. Mr. Burke found a piece of gold where the monkey bars used to be, I told her. I always figured there was gold down there, he said, but I couldn't get at it on account of them dang monkey bars in it. Is it okay with y'all if I do a little digging out here? You betcha, said Mrs. Jaffe. Dig, baby, dig. Our reading specialist, Mr. Mackey, came running out of the school, and he was pushing a wheelbarrow. Did somebody say gold? He asked, all excited. Where did you get a wheelbarrow? Asked Ryan. From Rent a Wheelbarrow. You can rent anything these days. Suddenly, the other teachers came running out of the school. Miss Coco, Miss Holly, Mr. Docker, Miss Small, all of them. They were wearing overalls and mining helmets. And some of them were carrying pickaxes, shovels, and pans. I guess they rented them. Yee-haw! They were all shouting. Gold! Don't any of you have classes to teach right now? Asked Andrea. Classes? Shouted Miss Rupee. Who cares about classes? There's gold in them thar hills. And I'm a-fixin' to fetch me some, dag-nabbit, said Mrs. Laney, our speech teacher. Yee-haw! Shouted Mr. Granite. Why is everybody suddenly talking like it's the wild, wild west? I asked. 'Cause we got the gold fever, young feller. It drives a man crazy, I tell you. Crazy, said Mr. Mackey. I'm crazier than a run-over coon, shouted our health teacher, Miss Leakey. I'm crazier than popcorn on a hot stove, shouted Mr. Granite. Grown-ups are weird. The teachers started digging holes all over the place and saying words I never heard of, like tarnation and varmint and ornery. Me and the other kids just watched them. At least it was better than going to class. I found me a nugget, y'all, Miss Holly suddenly shouted. Yee-haw! A chicken nugget? I asked. No, a gold nugget. That's funny. I always thought nuggets came from chickens. We all gathered around to look at Miss Holly's nugget. Look at the way it shines, she said. That there nugget is as purty as a snake on stilts, said Miss Rupee. I reckon this may be the biggest gold strike in over 100 years, said Mr. Burke. The teachers let out a big yee-haw and started digging all over the place with even more excitement. I found one too, said Miss Small. So did I, said Mr. Granite. They were all uncovering gold. That's when a big black car pulled up to the playground, and you'll never believe who got out of it. It was Mayor Hubble, and he was coming over. Suddenly, all the teachers stopped digging. Mayor Hubble was staring at the teachers, and the teachers were staring at him. The kids were staring at the teachers and Mayor Hubble. Everybody was staring at each other. You could have heard a pin drop. I'm sure Mayor Hubble was going to tell them to stop digging and go back to class, but he didn't. Dig, he hollered. Keep a digging. Chapter 8. Gilver.